had finished the album. It took a long time, and we shot.
What is a long time?
It took like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
No, I mean, not necessarily. No.
Nkululeko on Cultr.
Nkululeko on Cultr. Hello and welcome to yet another episode. Thank you very much for liking, commenting, and subscribing to the content today. I'm very, very excited. So, 10 years ago, I was 22 years old. I was living in Nyanga, KTC, in Cape Town. I was very, very poor, but somehow I managed to get myself this album. I don't know for how much at the time. It's an album by one of my favorite musicians, Bongeziwe Mabandla. 10 years later, he's released 2 other albums, including this one, making it 3. He's touring the world every other month. He's just come back from a performance in Germany. He's joining us to celebrate 10 years of the Umlilo album. Bongeziwe, thank you very much for joining us. How are you, sir?
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I'm so happy to see you.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, how did you arrive at choosing those colors?
These colors, these ones I'm wearing. Oh, yeah. I thought I'd match the deco.
Yeah.
And so I got some bright. No, this is just my favorite shirt, actually. And now I have the pants to match it. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you conscious of stuff like that, design and colors and even colors in music?
Yeah, I do like, but I think what's different about me is that I don't dress up every day. I can't do that. Yeah. I have to have I dress up once in a while, but I do like clothes. I do like fashion. I do like certain designers. This is Rich Mnisi. I like his stuff a lot.
Sure.
I like Tebe Magugu. Hey. But luckily,
I've just said poor people for the benefit of our audience. Poor people don't get to wear Rich Mnisi all the time.
I can relate.
I was thinking about this album.
Yeah.
And this CD, you didn't bring it, it's mine. I bought it 10 years ago. Just for the benefit of the audience. So I have a lot of CDs that I used to buy a long time ago. You looked poor on the video of this is that. You looked very, very poor. Yeah.
No.
Is that a true reflection of what you were going through at the time? Do you remember the video?
Of course. That was my first video. Yeah. How can I forget?
You looked poor on that.
No, I think, at that time I was very hands-on. I was a very serious artist. So I was like, I need to look the part of the video. And I did my own look and I put myself together. I didn't think maybe I have to look in character, but good. I just looked poor. I agree. You're not the first person to say that, though.
What was happening in your life at the time? I know from your Wikipedia biography, you're from Utsolo in Eastern Cape.
Yeah.
Where were you when you were recording this? Were many of the songs recorded prior to you being in a studio environment? What was the process and what was happening in your life? Maybe let's start with that. What was happening in your life? Where were you at the time?
Yeah. Wow, I'm gonna have to go back. So it's to spare a long story. I was at AFDA studying music and acting, and I'd been on Generations a bit since second year, and I was getting paid now at Generations, what I thought was good money. So I thought, and I finished school, I graduated, and it was in January. That's when actually everything started. That year when you come back from Eastern Cape,
sure,
and you come back to Joburg, and it's the first year that you don't have school, and we're just looking at each other, but what are we gonna do? Yeah, should I go back to school? Should I figuring out life. That was quite scary for me, being out of school. And then I went to the shop actually, and I met Paulo Chipanga at the shop.
Yes.
And I said, hey, I've got these songs. I'd like to record. And that's how it really actually started. That was what really happened in my life, or what was happening in my life at that time. Yeah, and then we started, he came in, he was like, I'm not going to do this for free, so you need to pay me. And I was like, great, I got this job that I'm doing at Generations. So I would work and pay him, and we started recording. This is actually was actually the first song we recorded.
Yeah, that's a beautiful song, actually. It's a very sad song.
Yeah.
It's beautiful too. And I remember that when I was living in the conditions that I was living in 10 years ago, that these would be the songs that carry you through those moments. And I would imagine even people that live in villages, when they heard this song on Umhlobo Wenene or Metro FM at the time, that it would carry them through whatever they're going through. But maybe we'll get to the meanings of the songs and how you structured the songs at some point. How was the studio for you the first time around?
I mean, I'd been at the studio at school.
Okay.
After.
Oh, yes, you went to a creative school.
Yeah. So we would record stuff. But I was really like, coming from Eastern Cape, rural Eastern Cape, I was very fascinated with actually, okay, Mike, record, and then all the waves, easy, and then it must be on a click. I was I was very interested, and I think sometimes that's what makes creativity possible. That is because I was very interested in studios and being in a studio and how does it actually work. So that was I hadn't been in a lot of studios, so just got to the studio. We recorded This Is Our Two. Also, the funny thing was that I wasn't trying to let the producers know that, I didn't really know what I was doing. So I was keeping a sort of like really brave face, like, I can do this. Meanwhile, in my head, I'm thinking, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Yeah.
Could you play the guitar at that point? Because it seems as though every Eastern Cape artist, it comes with a standard package that you are Zahara, you are Terita, all of them, they play the guitar. So when did you learn playing it?
I learned in grade 11 at school, but like obviously, I had other interests. I was serious about being an actor back then. So I didn't take it very seriously at school. And also just like my guitar throughout my career has really like sort of like been something I had to scramble and make together, because when that time arrived, I didn't know. I had only done those 2 years at school, at high school, and I learned a few things after school. So I wasn't really that knowledgeable.
But who introduces that to you as an instrument in school? Was there a music program, what grade 11, go to every kid that wants to play, or was it a friend?
No, actually in grade 11, we had assembly and they said, hi, we actually have a new guitar specialist. So this guitar that specializes in guitar. And I was like, I was like very much into Lauryn Hill and India Arie at the time. So I was like, it'd be great if I could learn how to play, I don't know, Buffalo Soldier and it was just a hobby. And I never knew that, I was actually walking into like a career.
Yeah. Could you find, so when I was 11, I started being trained in music, but in choral music. Yeah. So in Cape Town townships, we had a lot of that. It was a healthy scene of primary and high schools that has choral music. And if you win, that's the first time I came to Joburg when I was 14.
Yeah.
If you win your province, you could come to the Dome.
Okay.
And we go there and perform choral music. And if you win, some high schools would even go overseas, for example, to go to England. Yeah. So I knew that I have a voice since I was 11. Yeah. Because I was part of the senior choir, singing with 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds at the time, right? Yeah. I had a tenor. Uzazenjani nini uba unamilizwe? Because you have an actually dope falsetto-ish voice. But when did you pick up that you could sing, and especially in the way that you do sing?
I don't know. It's weird. Like I grew up to tula. Like my mom, she denies it now. They deny it now because I don't know. Coming back from a closer family, like like at home they used to like sing and everybody, and it was not even a special thing or like, oh, I have this talent. It's just the way people were where I grew up. People like Tandas with Sugu, you know, they just start singing hymns in this beautiful way. Harmony is perfect. So that's how I grew up. But I never really grew up feeling like I have a beautiful voice. And my mom would actually, if they were singing, they'd ask me like, I must keep quiet because I'm getting them off. But my interest was music. I've always loved music as a kid, just singing along to stuff, not really thinking that I could ever be a musician. But when I started learning guitar, I started humming like, and I think I've always loved music. Even, I don't know if you've ever loved something that you're not really good at, you know.
I get it. There are a lot of people. One of the lead, so at school assembly in my primary school, one of the kids that used to lead was a woman who could not fine tune.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? She was not good as a musician.
Yeah,
but somehow she loved it so much that she would lead in the assembly.
Yeah. It was like that for me. I always like love music. I was always like appreciating music, especially when I started listening to like Tracy Chapman and Lauryn Hill. I was just obsessed with like my own sound at school that nobody had. Like,
so sorry, just give me a moment. I think I do have the Miseducation.
Yeah.
Let me just show. Oh yeah,
one of my favorite albums. Yeah, this album. When I heard like Zion, even the cover, the whole thing was just like, I want to be part of this, whatever it is. And that's like how like my interest with music. And like when I started like really messing around with music, it was just like, it was innocent. I wasn't going into it to like be a musician and to try and make songs. I was just like, I think this is fun. It was almost like a TV game, like the way kids feel about TV games.
Sure.
Like I'd go to school when I was at After, I'd go to school, get bored through the whole classes, and then I'd have a free period. And I'd be like, yeah. And then on my free period, I'd be like, okay, what am I going to do for fun? Yeah. And then like I would, play around.
Did you start recording with some of your peers as well when you were at After? Was there any temptation maybe to form a group when you were there?
Yeah, there was. Not even a group. Like I called it playing. I've always been like that as a creative kid. Like other years, I was very much into painting and stuff. So, and like, it was just something I did for fun that I enjoyed, and also acting. It started off as something that I watch TV and like, I feel I can do that. So I'd like, rehearse by myself. It was all, so music became that thing that like I had a job, which was my acting.
Yeah.
But like what I really did for fun was try and write music. So yeah, I did mess around. Also, very early on when I came to Joburg, I was introduced. I think you have that album, the Simpiwe Dana album.
I have a different one.
Yes,
this is an older one. So this is Firebrand. But this would have been released maybe after 2015.
Yeah.
So this is an older one. But the previous one she released was Zandisile.
That album was that year I got to Joburg.
Absolutely. So Zandisile was an incredible album. It was an enigma, and it also encouraged us to try different sounds and voices. Definitely. Especially the bars Gandhi Ready. The way that it sounded on radio was like, shit, you can actually sound like that. And be popular as well.
Yeah, very influential album on me as well. And like I was just obsessed with that album and the artist Simpiwe Dana was, and also I learned very early onwards just from my hometown Kutsolo.
Okay.
And like she didn't grow up far from me. And actually when she was recording before the album came out, I was living in this flat with MXO.
Oh yeah, shout out to MXO.
Yeah. So one day he said, "Hey, my son, don't come through." And then I went into the car, I'm no slick. And he was,
it's an association of closer people, closer musicians.
And he was going to record the track he did with Simpiwe Dana on Zandisile.
Sure.
So I got to see like the studio sessions, and that really changed my life. I was like, oh, this is how they do it. Okay, there's backing singers. So I was very attached to that image that I saw that day, and I was like, when it was my turn to make an album, I tried to do something similar. But I think what I was trying to answer you is that I was trying to record because I had read this article in the Drum magazine about Simpiwe Dana buying a laptop to record herself to sort of nurture her music. So I also got a laptop.
Sure.
And got a sound card, and I would, try and build my music. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me take a detour a little bit. Ufo is a recording musician.
Yeah.
So it does amapiano. This one time, Kespanyo Vest says in his songs, I inspired all of you niggas, including folk. I'm focused. Which is a rallying call to hip-hop. Look, I'm the king. I'm the leader.
Yeah.
And I inspired y'all niggas. Yeah. And then Ufokalistic Aboye Ati, Inspiration in invoice mfethu. Yeah, well, and that becomes like a sort of like a, not diss or battle, but it's the spirit of hip hop. So I say that to say one day I inspired me. Eat from the palm of my hand, nigga. I'm your leader.
Oh wow!
Because you are now admitting it. Your inspiration.
Yeah, inspired by many people.
Yeah.
Though I think a lot of people think what I do is so unique, and I think it's because it's borrowed like from not just one place. It's borrowed from many places. Yeah.
How did you feel when you heard your voice for the first time? Because I was playing this again, and I usually play it on Spotify. Your album, this album, is my favorite album of yours. Yeah. I'm warming to your last album. I'm warming up to it. I don't know the songs, but I know every song. What did you feel when you heard your voice for the first time? Because I said it's sort of like an alto falsetto-ish. Did you feel weird when you were listening to it back? Or should I sound different? Should I change it?
Yeah. I did. Even now, I'm definitely the type of artist who struggles with their voice and how their voice sounds. And but I was so lucky. My best friend at the time was, I don't know if maybe you guys know, Little Boy. He's an actor. He used to be on Kukuno Andy.
Sure.
And we lived in the same sort of cottage. We had different sections, and I remember coming back to studio, I think with the CD, because he had a laptop and he could pop it in his laptop and sort of play it in the speakers. That's how back I'm going. So I came back and I plugged this out, and like I'll never forget him saying, "Oh, dude, this is really good. Like you're gonna." And I'm glad. Like my first sample of my CD was with somebody who could say, this is really good.
Positive
reinforcement. Yeah. Because I've realized now, like, people have so many different things to say about things. And that's even a battle I struggle with, Like sometimes you like something and then you make someone listen and they have something like, you should change this, It can make you a very insecure kind of person, when the voices are so loud.
I think your music is incredible, and obviously, granted, I'm a fan. I don't think that there is a need or a reason for you to even seek reinforcement from anyone other than your team, your immediate circle of people, a producer, your assistants, people around you. Yes, you need maybe a couple of fans that are super fans of yours that will give you feedback, raw as it is. But I don't think that there's anything that you should get from other people, because your music is influential. It saved me. This album saved me when I was 22.
Crazy.
What about your guitar and the sound? Was there ever a temptation? Because I see people who are soulful, who sing your kind of music, they somehow cross over to house, so that they can be more appealing and chart and top charts and stuff like that. Have you thought about that? Have you been tempted to do that? I know you've collaborated with other house musicians, but in terms of albums, I can see that there's a consistency of guitar specific, and I love it. But have you been tempted to cross over?
Yeah, I've done some stuff. I've sold out a bit already. I've already sold out. I've done some stuff with Lulu Cafe. I've done some stuff with Sun L. I've tried to do some stuff with Black Coffee. I've been trying to. It's a big debate, because I feel like it's a cross between selling major or keeping your niche market. It's actually that's what the debate is what the debate is all about, And and I understand both worlds. So I think I'm in between, because I tend to respect artists that always do what they are meant to do. Like they stick to their art form and how it is, and they never compromise it and they never change it. I respect it. But I've also respect artists that, seem to branch out and get new fans and get a following, and get people to even listen to their acoustic stuff because they have a song that is, I guess, doing well in the charts. Yeah.
I think the pressure largely comes from a label. I like the Roots crew in hip hop, and I've always loved them. They play a band, and Questlove does the production mainly, and he plays the drums. And then Black Thought is a rapper in that group, and they've been pushing for over 30 years. And one of the things that they prioritized, and Questlove speaks about this as well, is that for as long as, because ratings are very important in the US, for as long as they're still getting great reviews, they can somewhat mitigate for the lack of numbers, lack of album sales at the time when album sales were important.
Yeah.
I think the pressure, what have you ever felt any pressure from a record label? And would you look, in as much as this is highly reviewed by people who review it, 10 out of 10, 8 out of 10, you're not selling. How have those conversations gone for you in the past?
I think that still is the painful part about my whole career, and still to this day, it's something, I play a lot of festivals, and I don't know, the comments I get are like, and that's sort of is hard because, I've been pushing, for 10 years. And, I still relatively constantly sometimes feel like aspiring musician. That's been the struggle of my career. And through the successes and the lows, it's something that I'm constantly in battle with, in terms of being an artist.
So back to the label thing. In-house, what happens? What are the conversations in-house? Because your sound is dope, right? I love your music. But maybe it's appealing to a niche market, a small percentage of the population. But still, it doesn't change the fact that it's dope, right? Now, what have been the conversations from one label? What has been your label journey as well? Like, you've signed for which label in what year? And what was the reason why you parted ways and stuff like that?
I've had quite a lot of labels. And it's been that, usually it's a great reception about loving the album, loving the artistic direction, and then album release. Then after a while, it's like, this are not the numbers we were looking at for this album, or we were hoping at. And the relationship becomes really difficult after that, when guys are used to, I don't know, different artists that give different numbers. You start to feel the pressure. But for me, it hasn't even been pressure only from the label. It's been personal pressure as well.
It must be very difficult to be a dope musician and still be feeling the pressure. But be that as it may, thank you very much for that. The most important thing with these conversations is for people to understand that there are complexities within these relationships. As much as you are dope and people you tour all around the world, but there are complexities and uncomfortable conversations as well. Do you remember who signed you for this one as we go into this album now? Do you remember who signed you? What was the conversation at the time?
I had finished the album. It took a long time. And we shot
what is a long time?
It took 5-6 years. No, I mean not necessarily. No, when I mean 9 and 6 years, or I mean 5 to 6 years, it means I was working with a musician that was touring in Europe. So we'd work November, I don't know, a week, and then he'd leave next year, and then he'd come back the following year, and we'd record maybe real drums for a week, and then it was on and off. And he was a working musician himself, so
Sure.
He'd go to France for 3 months to go on tour. Yeah, so it was like that, and we also hadn't found a label for a while, so it took a long time to finally get a label. And I'd gone to Galo. I was really excited. I thought they were gonna sign me.
Yeah.
They called me up in the office. I was like, "Oh, this is my big break." And then I was there, and they were like, "Nah, we're not gonna sign you right now. We think you're very talented, but we just think you need to have a bigger fan base." And I was gutted. I was like, everything I'd worked for. This was the heavy struggling days, like, can't make rent. So I was really like sort of desperate. And then, we had sent the album to Sony. They had said no. And then all of a sudden they came back and they said, okay, we're thinking of signing Bongeziwe. It was great. I was really excited. I was sort of young. And ever since I knew what a record label was, I wanted to have one. So to get one, I was like super excited. And then I hadn't heard from them for a while. It was November.
Yeah.
I was getting desperate. And then Paolo, who was, talking to the label, got them
before you continue, I know Paolo Tibanga, but I don't know, what is he a jazz musician?
Paolo Tibanga, he's the drummer from 340 Mil and Do Me and the Volume.
Yeah. I'm
from Mozambique.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the guy that discovered me.
Sure.
And he was moving to Moz, and he got them to send me is it a letter of intent? Like,
what do you want to sign you?
Like, so from Sony, he got Sony to write me this letter.
Sure.
Like, hey, we will send the contract, but there's a letter of intent. Don't worry, we will sign you.
Yeah.
Basically, because I was getting like super worried, like it had been months. So I was really excited when I got that letter. And then, and a few months later, we came, signed the contract, exciting stuff. And we started working on the album.
Yeah. So what were the expectations? Sometimes people sign 5 album deals.
Yeah.
What in return would they do for you in exchange for you signing to them?
I think it was a two album deal.
Yeah.
The expectation was that, my expectation was like, I am, everyone's gonna love my music. Everyone is I'm gonna start playing in festivals, Cape Town Jazz Festival. I'm gonna become a star, basically. And
then you're good, I'm the name.
Yeah.
But you became a very solid, dope musician.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at it now, I mean, also like I'm really talking about maybe I'm explaining more like a negative side of my story.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I cut to now, and that's the conversations I have with myself is, even though I'm not a mainstream artist, there's so many things that have happened in my career that I'm so thankful for, and opportunities that have fell on me that, that make me feel like, I've accomplished a lot, I was speaking now about the struggling days of not having anything. Today I'm able to sort of have a career as a musician, and live a good life, and it's from that career, whether it's mainstream or not, it's able to sort of sustain me, and it's a wonderful thing to be able to live by making art, to live as a musician, and that's something that I'm always grateful for, and
the album opens with Ehamba Nami and it closes with Ntembisweni. I like the sounds. Maybe because I'm closer and I'm familiar with the sounds as well. It's beautiful. How much of a hand did everyone else have other than you on the album? Let's start with Wamba Nami, Wandenzani. Ndake ndagowa ngale ngoma le ithi Wandenzani. Ndilile inyembezi ndina 22. No mama. Sizathu, of course, is the biggest star of that. I love Gonuza.
Yes.
How much of all of these stories is you and where you come from in the Eastern Cape?
Yeah.
Maybe production sisandla sabo but you
Yeah. I mean, the guitars and the vocals, they all me.
Yeah.
You know. I wrote the whole albums. I write all my albums.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing, you know, when I was battling with my voice and trying to be a musician, I think sometimes, you know, with being an artist, you use what you think is your strength and, you know, and what you're good at. And I definitely coming back from that background of being an actor and studying theater, I think it helped me to write stories and music and to narrate my music in a specific way.
Ugunuza yangibani uGunuza? Who was Gunuza? So okay, let me give the benefit of the doubt to the listener that they may not know why I'm asking this.
Yeah.
So in the song, you are describing a story of a man who's wealthy in the village.
Yeah.
I think he has a shop too. Mm-hmm. It's a very creative way of telling the story because you don't tell it explicitly.
Yeah.
You tell that is his situation. He's rich. He has a shop. And then one day there were police and he was taken away.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not. There's an interesting song by D'Angelo, but it swears it's shit damn motherfucker. The title of the song.
Yeah.
But the way that it's written is that it starts with, "Why are you sleeping with my woman?"
Yeah.
And then he goes on to the second verse. It says, "Why are you Why are you bleeding?" And then the third verse is, "Why am I wearing handcuffs?" So he doesn't reveal anything other than the fact in the first stanza, "Why are you sleeping with my woman? Why am I wearing handcuffs?" And why are you bleeding? And then when it was thungelanga kwakho by story when second order but okay, this probably happened. So with in your case Gunuza, you found an interesting way of writing it. But who is Gunuza and does he exist in real life?
No, you know, how can I explain it? The story it's sort of fictional.
Okay.
And the story is fictional, but I wanted to write about like these like really big figures in our society that are rich and wealthy and people like look up to them. And it was I was really trying to write about the political situation in 2012
without necessarily mentioning names.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a dope cryptic way of doing it.
Yeah, about a big man, man who, you know, who sees everything for himself and who's an opportunist. And but there was a policeman that used to live in my hometown, and he was sort of like really big and very everybody. So I thought like it's a nice name. Even the name feels, you know, Gunuza feels big. So yeah, I wrote about I guess at that time it was me trying to be socially, you know, to write social issues.
Kodwa umsaki uyabatuka straight. Umsaki makes, even on Belete, Tani Soma's album, I think I have it in one of these albums. Naye uyabangena kujikijela kulanda baye feels must fall uyabangena straight. Did you well, you were cryptic in here. I did not know that was about that. But have you ever felt like you are a protest singer and that you have a responsibility to, in your music, reflect what is happening in life?
Yeah, I do, you know. Especially with that album. I was more trying to still find my voice. I don't know, a lot of my new albums are of different subjects. But that album, you know, there's freedom for everyone on that album, which is like, you know, a distinctly, you know, I would say activism song. I guess it was important at that time to write about things like that.
Yeah, I certainly enjoyed it. as you submitted, maybe we're wrapping up the story about the album. I want to talk about your influences as well.
Yeah.
You can't really do justice to the album other than just streaming it on Spotify.
Yeah.
There's no CDs anymore. You just go on Spotify and play it from the beginning to the end. I really enjoyed it, and I still enjoy it to this day. As you submit this album to the label, are there any songs that are eliminated from it? It's 12 songs.
Yeah.
Are they happy with the sound? Are they happy
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
sonics and stuff like that?
Yeah, no, like at that time, I think I had planned all these songs like way back, how many songs they were gonna be, what they were gonna be called, and we would have it was all. I was quite when I started off, I was quite like hands on about like
Sure.
how I wanted my album. So even before the album would be, I would write my thank yous, like that I'm gonna include on the CD, how I want the CD to look, what video I want, and which features I want. Just before like dreams. It was
It wasn't a struggle between you and the label to say we need an up tempo beat song A1 as a single.
No. Those came later when the album didn't do well. They started like having remixes and No, but they were quite happy with them.
How was your relationship as we move from the album now? You mentioned MXO, you mentioned Simpiwe Dana. You got to meet them. I think Slick Angel you mentioned as well.
Yeah.
Those are iconic people in my eyes.
Yeah.
Awafuna Mandongo, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Slick Angel. What did you learn from those people as you met them and as you worked with them? Because of course the expectation does not always meet the reality sometimes.
Yeah. Oh wow!
Let's start with MXO. What did you learn from him? What
did I learn from MXO?
What did he introduce you to other than...
Oh yeah, what did he introduce you to? MXO, man. Like I said, he really opened some things that I'd never seen. Like I was telling you about this opportunity to accompany him to the studio to watch a recording. And I think I was also like lucky and fortunate to meet MXO so early when I came to Joburg. I quickly met him. Hey, how you doing? So probably learned.
Yeah, did you have any sessions with Simpiwe Dana? Maybe in talks? In the relationship as well?
Yeah, that artist I learned a lot from because I think I was a huge fan of her music. So, I learned a lot, mostly, I think, about the beauty of language, of our own language. I learned making art. I think from her, what I loved was that, like, her art was so purposeful, it was an art movement to invoke pride on us as Black people, and I really related. I wanted to also like do something that was just as meaningful, and
there's something I want to ask that I think is very important, but maybe let me defer to Johannesburg and Kutsolo. And did you feel like you had to adjust your personality? Because of course we have to wise up when we come here. We have to open our eyes a little bit more. Because of course it is the big city that can swallow you. How was that transition for you from there to here? Are you more of a Joburger now?
Yeah, I am definitely more of a Joburg. I think I was always ready for a place with opportunities. I think I've just realized when I came to Joburg that as an artist, it's so much more easy that that somebody can see you do something and say, hey, I want you to come perform. And that's what I really loved about Joburg, is that, like, I've always wanted to be an artist. I've always wanted to be a singer or an actor. And, like, I was just stuck on not knowing how to do it. And when I came to Joburg, it was recognized. So I'll always love Joburg for that, for, seeing me as an artist, recognizing me as an artist. And, like, growing me as an artist, What
are you now? Are you a world musician? Because I mean, you travel a lot.
Yeah,
And there's the
yeah.
genre called world music.
Oh no, I'm not world music. Oh, the genre. No, no. I think that term was a bit problematic.
Yeah, Bandabanins, they started to dislike the boxing of, because it's like different. Angelique Kidjo sounds different to you, but you'll be
Boxed
bundled
together,
with Nizi world musicians. What are you in the grand scheme of things? When people, because I mean, you come from Germany now, and I'm sure you're gonna go somewhere else. I'm your fan. I see some of the bookings you have. It's like shit. You're somewhere most of the time. What are people saying to you about your music, in spite of the language?
In spite of the oh yeah, I get this one. I don't understand the word you're saying, but it just touches me so deeply. It's like I understand every word.
Is that superficial or real, do you think?
I do think so. I do think, like, I think you can hear when, like, there's other aspects besides language that come into, like, a song. You can hear real raw emotion, and I think, yeah, I hope it's for real.
Yeah. Do you enjoy traveling? Like, what country have you not traveled to? Because it feels like in the past 10 years, you've traveled to over 100 countries.
I've traveled to a lot. I've traveled a lot of countries. I've seen so many different shows, so many different cultures. And, we're talking about mainstream and some of the positive things. And that is definitely something positive that has happened for my career, is that I've been lucky enough to experience the world and also get a lot of appreciation from different cultures. Like, I've traveled to Japan. They had an immense appreciation for the music. Canada, a lot of Europe. I'm gonna go to Mexico for the first time now.
Shout out to Mexico.
Yeah, I can't wait. I wonder how that experience. And other parts of Africa. I'm just always happy that my music can be appreciated by people that are not necessarily from the Eastern Cape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are a citizen of the world. What do you get up to when you are there? Tina Sibanoti when we go to other countries.
No.
We sample other people's women.
No.
German, French. And
Raised well.
You don't even sample the booze, baby. I don't drink, but I know people appreciate different wines. And
Holland times. What's crazy? Maybe the best way I can answer you is like, I never knew there was so much hard work in music, and I think the bigger your career goes, the more that you spend days like Monday in the studio, then after at 4 interview. I'm training now as well for my new cover, so back to the gym. Then the following day, it's like a rehearsal that ends at 6. My life has become that now.
Yeah.
And then the next day, it's like social media thing, traveling Thursday, arrive there, pick up. So I've lost a big sense of just fun, enjoyment. And it's quite crazy because I never knew that people work so hard. Yeah.
What is your relationship with your family from the Eastern Cape as they see you go through these things? What's your relationship with the family now?
Yeah, my family, my relationship with my family has always been very good. I have a very small family. Actually, for my dad's side, I have this huge family. Just one, I think. But Mabandla, Eastern Cape are like a big family. And then from my mom's side, we're really small. So I've always been really close with my family. But you're right, there is that. I feel like I'm always working. Always missing stuff. I'm always being excused because I can't get to that. But it's just, I guess, a sacrifice now that I'm too deep in that I can't. Trying to build something great, something huge, and it comes with a lot of sacrifices. Like I was saying, like just like day in, working every day, you know. Like I'm from the gym now. When I go back in the evening, I have a show tomorrow. I have you know, it's just always. So a lot of the days now are spent just basisleeve.
Yeah. Well, I suppose it probably is financially rewarding. You would rather you would rather tour than not tour. You would rather be in a concert than not be in a concert.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're talking about it. I guess the conversation I'm trying to have is like the ideas of what hard work. Like I definitely didn't grow up like this. I grew up like, yeah, you go work. That's how I grew up. You go work, you take a break. Especially as Lalin, like
basking in the sun.
You just like sit.
If there's shade where you are, you just move your bucket, your bench,
your mattress,
and then follow where the sun is.
You know, I grew up like that, and like it's weird, like being in Joburg and being this like hardcore artist, being booked. It's like I never prepared myself for what that looked like. And especially I think I work with a very hardworking management team. The producers I work with, you know, they don't mind like coming in like at 9 and then leaving at like 7, 8. Like the first time I saw that, I was like, like what? Like you guys don't take a break. But it's been very interesting.
Yeah, you were something very interesting as well. I'm always curious about. So when they were recording, so the Soulquarians was a group comprised of people like D'Angelo, people like Erykah Badu, Questlove, Jay Dilla, a lot of those guys, Q-Tip, right? So it was not necessarily a group that records an album, but it's a group of musicians who work together between 96, 97, 98, 2000, 2001, 2003, maybe up to 2004. And Questlove describes people's patterns as different, that D'Angelo would come to the studio and he would not record until it's 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. And then other musicians would only record at 6 p.m. So umduza ebusuku ngo-6, uyaphuma ngo-10 ebusuku okanye ngo-11 ebusuku. And then something interesting that happened in one of the documentaries, I just forgot his name, they described Eminem as someone who treats recording music as a job. So ufika ngo-8 ekuseni, and then he takes lunch at 1, and then uyahamba ngo-5. And he tells
I've heard
people
that story. No matter what's happening in the studio.
It's like at 5, my job is done. It was on a documentary where they were documenting the journey of Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre and how they sold Beats by Dre to Apple Music for $1 billion. What are your patterns and what have you seen that are extreme? Have you ever recorded in 3 a.m. XN?
Man. Like, and that's what I'm explaining. I never thought I'd work this hard, and I never knew like what the journey to success is like. Like I was never really prepared. Like I can hardly go out and have a drink because like my gym doesn't allow me to drink. I left Thursday for Germany, got to Germany on Friday. Friday we went to the opening of the festival, so I had to attend. Then the next day woke up, I'm gymming as well during all this time. So Saturday gym, wake up, start preparing, play the show. Then the next day I had a next show. Then the next day flight. It's like it's amazing, and like it's just something I never knew. I thought like it'd be nice. Like when I started out music, this is the way I was. I would like drink the whole night, party at thingy, wake up the next morning and smoke and think like, okay, great, I can go to my show and play. And then I'd play a bad show, and then I'd have to drink again. And then and now 10 years later, I've learned this. I've really learned how to like somebody talked about having the temperature and the focus. I think that's what I'm really trying to say, and the attitude for success.
Yeah.
It's there's a big sacrifice, personal sacrifice, that I did not comprehend. That I could make money but not really have the time to actually even spend it properly.
Absolutely.
Because I'm just jumping from one thing to the next and try, and also not just trying to do things but trying to do them well. It's really hard. Yeah.
So I know, like ubucinga ngento zefamily wangoku.
No.
In terms of settling down, it's not something that you would think of in the moment, settling down and focusing on relationships and stuff like that. It's not conducive. What you're describing is not conducive to a relationship life.
I guess so. And like I was just saying to somebody, I'd love to meet somebody who's a musician, so they would just understand how. I think those are some of the sacrifices. I love the idea of a family, and I'd really love to get into one, and obviously tried, which is what my album was about. But I do think there was a certain some of the sacrifices that come into play, like being in a relationship but having to be like, oh, I have to go, like something's come up, I've got a new show, like sometimes you appear as a person who's only self-interested. And what comes first, the love or the music, and
although it's rewarding at a spiritual sense, maybe at a self-fulfillment sense, but love does not pay bills.
You think so?
It doesn't. That's what I'm saying. I acknowledge the fact that it's rewarding at a level of fulfillment in your heart and shit like that, and maybe even identifying yourself with, oh shit, I'm 32 and therefore I have 4 children and therefore it means my life is going well, the chat deal and stuff like that, for example. But it's rewarding in that sense, but it's you can't pay bills with it, unfortunately. Discipline is very important.
I mean, it depends what kind of love you get. I think, like, I'd be very, very interested in a relationship where we can co-hustle. I've seen couples like that, like I don't know, like Beyonce's dad and Beyonce, where people work as a family unit together, to bring the same dream, or Jay-Z and Beyonce recording albums together. I think that's really beautiful when like you meet a like-minded person and you are able to coexist. Like a lot of artists in the States, they managed, like I think Usher was managed by his mom
wife or something like that.
Yeah, by his mom.
Okay.
I don't know why we don't do it a lot more here in South Africa, where someone's manager is actually their mother and things like that.
Okay, cool. Let's spend the last 10 minutes now. Indulge me in your 5 best albums. Top of your head, of course, it's an unfair.
I need like 50 albums.
I know it's an unfair question because now I love music, so I know I wouldn't like someone asking me that question. But because I think we have 10 more minutes, let's talk through some of your favorite albums, maybe 5 of them, and maybe indulge on why. What do you like about them?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and speak about the albums that have influenced me the most.
Sure.
The first one's the Lauryn Hill Unplugged.
Oh yeah.
Yo.
It's like she's shouting, though. Do you not feel like she's strained in her voice as she does some of the songs?
Yeah, and also she makes mistakes. She presses the wrong chord.
Yeah.
She's like, but that's also what I love about the album. It's
imperfect.
Yeah. And like sometimes we like to make music like, oh no one misses notes, and like, these retakes, but to be able to come and record a whole album, like just playing live and take it out like that, I was like, no, that's amazing. I love that album.
What I remember distinctly about it is the mystery of inequity.
Yeah.
And Jesus Christ. To hear someone break down the inequalities of the world and corporations and shit like that, and someone who's brown and who's a woman.
Yeah.
I think I first heard it when I was 18. I was like, shit, what the fuck is this about?
Yeah.
That was very dope. That was like my standout from the album.
Yeah. No, Lauryn Hill, like, it's weird. Like I hope that the next generation of people to come, the younger generations, are gonna appreciate that kind of writing. It's like I've never met like a better writer for me, and like who can write about things that are so important in the world. Yeah, she's a genius. Yeah.
Nasikafike ngexesha ku-shows zakhe, but that's a story.
Yeah,
That's a story for
yeah,
another
yeah.
day. That's a story.
If I'm
for
late, you'll understand why. I'm doing a Lauren Hill.
The second album.
Second album. I'm gonna say Urban Zulu. Yeah, Usimhlongo.
Oh, Jesus. That's a godly album.
Yeah.
That's a godly album.
Yeah. Highly influential. And then,
like, just please expand more on it, like its influence on you. Shit.
Yo. And then Safika Joburg, you know, and some amele like Bongo Muffin, and then the art crew. I was hanging around a lot of arts, you know.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, Busim Mhlongo, and like, you know, at that time, and they put it on, and like, oh, that music. It's like, I told somebody that if I was ever to award somebody the best musician in Africa, it would have to be Busim Mhlongo. It's like her spirit, like when you listen to her music, her spirit awakes and it shifts the room. It's like that powerful. And like also her vocal ability, she can go like really grungy and dirty, and then she can go like really soft and and like it's just her music. Also, what it does to me, like it puts a picture in me, like in my head. And then, like, every time I listen to her music, I just see, I don't know, Oteba, Nemine, you know, everything that's like is distinctly South African.
Yeah.
It's like in her music. It's just, it takes you to his Dexy, Nes Lalini, all these things that are like, and what I love about her music, like, when you hear it, you know it's from South Africa. It's like no one else in the world can do what she does.
Yeah, I like her ad-libs.
Yeah.
And I think she's fully aware what she's trying to do when she wails in the songs. And it's like the vocals, the basic vocals are laid already, but she adds some ad-libs. And she's
she's
going through
her music's very layered, right?
Yeah, it's multi-layered.
She comes on top. Yeah.
That may well be one of my it's one of my favorite albums. I think I could argue, because I'm from hip hop, I could argue with the best hip hop album that's the best album in the world.
Yeah.
I love the Urban Zulu.
Yeah,
I really love that album. What's your third album?
Who am I gonna leave out? My third album. Okay, I'm gonna say Ibokwe.
Thandiswa, yeah.
Yeah, Thandiswa has also like been super influential on my career. Just growing up in the Bongo Muffin. And Tati Scoop, you know?
Yeah.
She was always that artist I loved because she was like a true artist from the word go. Like, I think the reason I sing in Cultr is mainly because of growing up with Thandiswa Mazwai. It's like her music's so creative, and like she was so dope back when the kids were small, you know. And she's had such a successful career, so many hits, so much understanding of, like, I think that's one musician I've seen live throughout my life.
Yeah.
Like in the Eastern Cape, Kapa. You know, she's been that A artist for so many years. And I wonder, like, you know, it takes a legend to have that sort of like commitment and to redo it and perform at the World Cup and perform, you know, at the 46664. It's just like a super mega star.
Yeah, she's cold-hearted. I don't think she's super cold-hearted. I don't know, but I don't think there's a South African female vocalist alive that I have Belete's an album, and I think that's one of my favorite albums in the world of all times. She's super cold-hearted. I don't think there's any South African vocalist. I appreciate Umsaki for what she is, and she would need to build up to that point, Umsaki, in order for her to be revered by masses of people. But I think I don't think there's a vocalist better than her in South Africa. Not necessarily at a level of technical vocals, because even Nomfundo Kalova achieves that in jazz. She's super, super dope in her soprano. But I think just as a musician, bro, like her musicianship is on another level.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen her shows as well.
Yeah, I think I've seen her once.
She it goes wild, you know. She's got a certain understanding of, and you're right, I don't think it's necessarily just the vocals. It's the artistry, it's the clothing, it's the style, it's the message, it's the look, it's the setting trends, you know. There was a time everybody in Joburg was, you know, looking like Tandy.
Sure.
The
All Stars.
Yeah, Beats. I was there, So she's done this for a minute, and she's done it so well, and that's somebody to look up to and sort of applaud. Okay,
what about your fourth album then?
My fourth album, I'm gonna have to say
there's no males at this point.
I'm
not trying to say you must include them. I mean, if it's your taste, it's your taste.
Yeah, I know. Males aren't that influential. I was maybe Jabu Kanyela is someone I listen to, but I don't know if his album is in my top 5.
Sure.
But this is recent. Nina Simone. I don't know which album or specifically, just the artist. Like, I know. I've never watched an artist and go, I love this. I love this lady so much. I love this music so much. Nina Simone, no, hands down. I love when watch someone that's brilliant, like the way they play the piano, and it's just like watching a circus, if you know, watching tricks,
sure.
like somebody flipping over. Yeah. And that's what she does, on the
Have
piano.
you ever sseen her perform Feelings?
Oh, that's one of my favorite songs.
Exactly, and her command on the crowd. And she's like, her attitude is like, I'm gonna play when you motherfuckers are ready to listen.
Yeah. Hey, girls, sit down.
Yeah.
Sit down.
Yeah. I love her too.
Yeah, no. She's new to me. I've known some songs, but it's only after I watched the documentary and actually got to know who Nina Simone was and what she did and her story. It's like you just can't not be inspired by such a remarkable black person, and her politics and her sadness and mix that together with her accuracy and her brilliance. It's just like it's a beautiful mash. And then I'm gonna end off with Simpiwe Dana's album.
Which one? Zandisile or Firebrand?
Zandisile.
Yeah, that was an insane album.
Yeah. That album. Yeah, it made me want to be an artist. Like when I heard that album, I was like, I can't. I have to get into the music industry. Yeah. When I heard that album, I was like, I just want to be part of music. That's the album that changed my love for music. And I buy every magazine she's on just to read up. I love musicians and albums that they feel like almost like a religion, they change how people view things. And I think that album was one of those. Everybody was sort of woke and it felt like a new chapter in South African music. So that's one of my favorite albums.
Nice one. Thank you. You have a beautiful taste in music.
Yeah.
And it shows in your music. It shows in your music too, as well. Yeah. Just one thing on Nina Simone. I first read about her when I was 20, in 2010. I went to the Cape Town Library. I picked up a book and I read about her.
Yeah.
And I found out that she was a trained musician since she was 5. She was training for classic piano.
Yeah.
And then eventually she became a jazz musician.
Yeah.
She left the US as a result of the conditions for black people there. And she went to live in France and she spent some time in Africa as well.
Yeah.
I think she's an insanely incredible human being.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Like any person who picks up the microphone to describe our people's condition and sympathize with our people, that's the person to follow. That's the person to follow because one speaker once said that ngamanye amaxesha, sometimes if you were an alien and you came on planet Earth for the first time and you landed in South Africa, there are genres of music that would make you think that it's all fun and games in this country for black people.
Yeah.
You know, but then occasionally God sends his people like yourself who describe the black condition. And through such music, the alien can be able to understand about, oh, kabantu abalambayo kweli lizwe, abasokolayo kweli lizwe, abathathelwe umhlaba wabo kweli lizwe, and stuff like that. So Nina Simone, for me, I gravitated towards her because of that message.
Yeah.
Any last words for your fans as we bid you goodbye? Any plans for new albums and stuff like that?
No, it's just the conversation was too short. I was having such a great time.
Thank you for coming through, bro.
Thank you for talking to me. It's really nice, and I hope I didn't share too much.
Well, that's what we want. that's what we want. You will
about my ex-record labels.
You will
Can you
regret
cut that part out?
You will regret later. That's the person in charge of cutting things.
Don't cut out parts.
Oh wow! They don't cut out parts. Well, I guess I said it. No, like celebrating 10 years. I just want to thank the people that. Because like I can make music and just play it for myself in my room, but it's also the people that, you know, relate to the music and consume the music and, support the music. So I'm just, in 10 years, I'm just thankful that I'm still making music and thankful to all of you guys for inviting me, I guess, into your homes, into your cars. And here's to another 10 years, I hope. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Bongeziwe Mabandla, one of my favorite musicians ever. With one of my favorite albums ever. Umlilo Album. If you have time, go on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, listen to that album in its entirety. Listen to the sonics, listen to the messaging as well. If you don't understand this closer, at least listen to the emotion in the guitar, in the vocals as well. Thank you so much for watching us. Boom.
Thank you.